And it's not so much the quantity at Stanford, but the quality. And we bring in Don King from Last Word on Sports to talk about this Stanford class. Don, it's great to see you, one of our original contributors here at Mark Rogers TV. And this is an amazing situation when you talk about a coaching staff that's proven that it can develop. I don't want to call it marginal talent because that would not be correct, because these guys move on to the NFL, but top 40 type classes that have won Pac-12 championships consistently and won Rose Bowls. And now this is like a fringe top 10 class.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mark. I have to tell you, Nerd Nation is delighted today. You know, for a class of only 14 commits to rank fairly consistently in the top 15 in the nation, Stanford has never had a class with 3 5-stars all in the same year, and has done so today. And in fact, all 14 of the signees who have been added to full scholarship status are 3-star or better, and 9 of the 14 are actually either 4 stars or 5 stars. It's a fantastic class, and you hit the nail right on the head. It is all about quality over quantity this year.
Yeah, I ran down the commits, like you say, 14. 7 of those guys are rated in the top 10 at their position. So we're talking about cream of the crop. And we know the difficulty of the academic standards at Stanford, but also there's certainly a cachet. If you can get mom and dad on board from a football standpoint, certainly they're going to fall in love with the academics if you have a son that's able to meet those standards. What else do you like about this class?
Yeah, honestly, the best thing about it is kind of the composition from a position of need standpoint. You know, it's hard now, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Stanford struggled to a 10-3 record in 2016. You know, back in my day, I don't think Stanford won 10 games in my 4 years on campus. But at any rate, the struggle early in the season was all about the offensive line failing to come together as quickly as it traditionally has. And by the estimation of at least a couple of the different ranking services, Stanford nailed the number 1 and number 2 offensive tackle prospects in the nation, and they're both 5 stars. You know, on a unanimous basis. I don't care who you look at; they may be ranked slightly differently, but they're both outstanding, and they're both massive. You know, like 6'7", 6'8", 311 and 315 coming out of high school as 17 and 18-year-olds. Which is crazy. And, then by many services, the number 1 ranked pocket passer in the nation, Davis Mills from Georgia, coming in as well to add some depth at that position. And also one of the top tight ends in the nation as well, Colby Parkinson from Westlake Village, California, also joining this class. So it's tremendous. It's not the largest signing class. It's not the deepest. But the talent is absolutely undeniable.
It is tremendous, and it's a bit curious to me because Stanford didn't start winning big 2 years ago. So this has been going on for 8 or 9 years at Stanford, rising to the elite of college football. So there's that talk about what kind of push, what kind of bump are you going to get from a big season? Well, Stanford didn't have, by their new standards, a big season last year, but they certainly did 2 years ago in winning the Rose Bowl with Christian McCaffrey gaining all that attention. So maybe that was the bump. Otherwise, I can't explain why a team that recruits in the 40s suddenly has a fringe top 10 class.
Yeah, I actually think you nailed it, Mark. This, unlike the USC class we discussed earlier, this was not one of those late, hard-charging, fast-closing classes like Stanford had back in 2010 or 2011 with that huge offensive line haul. These guys have all been in the fold for the most part, at least for 3 or 4 weeks now since learning of their admission status, and they've held firm. So I think Shaw and company have done a great job marketing the program, selling the concept of a 40-year decision as opposed to a 4-year decision. And they've made that work really well, really consistently, and it's played extremely well in living rooms across the country.
It is the second best class according to all the major services within the Pac-12, and look out because the top 5 and 6 and 7 classes in the Pac-12 were winning the conference. Don King joins us from Last Word on Sports. Don, we always appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mark.